What is the stupidest injury you've ever gotten? I once injured my leg by jumping off the back of a moving truck so that I wouldn't be in trouble for riding on the back of a moving truck. As a kid who just learned how to ride a cycle, I saw my auntie visiting us with a cake in her hand. I was so excited I rode hard and fast towards her and forgot to brake. I rode my bike into a wall and broke my hand. On a positive note, I got biggest piece of cake. There's a tool called a hay hook. It looks like a big Captain Hook hand, except it's welded to a metal bar. You stab it into small bales of hay to make them easier to drag around. One day I missed the hay and hit my knee. I've hurt myself in many weird ways, so this was tough to figure out. A while ago I was riding my bike and saw a rabbit. I wasn't watching where I was going and rode off a retaining wall. I got a concussion from that. I sneezed, it dislodged a herniated disc causing me to collapse and rupturing my vertebrae, crippling me permanently, so yeah, I got crippled with a sneeze. Edit. Well, this blew up. This happened 10 years ago. Here's an image of the MRI from back then. I once broke my thumb trying to give someone a hug. Awkwardly caught it on their body and the ligament of my stretched thumb popped off and took some bone with it. When I was 5, I was stepped on by a llama. My mom said I had a llama foot shaped bruise on my back for a couple weeks. They closed the petting zoo after that. When it reopened, they no longer allowed people inside the animal pens. In January I broke my rib trying to get a soda from the backseat of my car. Snapped my humerus in half while arm wrestling. I did not find it as humorous as it sounds. My horse kneed me on my temple by accident while I was kneeling down, bandaging his leg. He knocked me out cold for a few seconds and I ended up with a very swollen black eye for about 10 days. He was actually just getting a better footing, not being difficult at all, and it was just a tap, but I looked like I had been cowed by Lennox Lewis in round 1. When I was 6 my forehead was really itchy, but it was one of those deep itches that you couldn't really scratch out. So my bright 6-year-old brain told me to get into an all-fours position and try rubbing my forehead into the carpet. Well, I did that and ended up taking a small layer of skin off that took ages to heal completely. Edit. Apparently this is some kind of rite of passage for all 5 to 6-year-olds. Glad I wasn't the only idiot. I broke my foot whilst practicing the finishing move in Karate Kid. I was 20. Edited to thank you for the love, peeps. I've never gotten an award before. Also, I have laughed at my idiot 20-year-old self all day, along with my husband and children. Apparently, I had never told them how I broke my foot long ago. They have been highly amused. Ended my brief interest in ballet by doing a grand jeet into a door and breaking my toe. I woke up, looked at the clock, had time before the alarm would go off, and went back to sleep. Woke up again, looked at the clock, felt a pop, and heard a sound in my neck. Torticollis. I had to call my dad to come to the college, help me down 3 flights of stairs, and take me to the ruined my whole 2-week Christmas break. Watching American football as a kid, my dad missed the play where one of the wide receivers injured his ankle. Oh dad, he did this. I ended up with the same injury. In high school as I was leaving I saw a high jump pad and bar on the field, so I decided to give it a try. When I landed on my back, my knee came down, and I gave myself a black eye. This wasn't me, but I was playing basketball with some friends one day and the topic of Derrick Rose's ACL tear came up. Friend of mine was confused how he could have gotten hurt on that play, so he tried to mimic exactly what Rose did to see if he could feel any pressure in his knee. He tore his meniscus. I punched myself in the forehead during an improv comedy bit and gave myself a concussion. My sister said, "Hey, I wanna shoot your BB gun." So I give it 10 pumps, hand it to her, walk over to the tire, and as I'm setting the pop can on the tire, she shoots me in the ass. Took a doctor 10 minutes to dig it out. I had lost about 30 pounds, and my belt was getting too big. Most people would say, oh, time to buy a new belt. The craftier of us might say time To get out my leather punch, I say time to dig a hole in the belt with my *folding* pocket knife. It folded in on itself while I was digging a new hole in the leather and cut my thumb to the bone and had to go to urgent care to get it stitched up. My wife bought me a leather punching tool for Christmas that year. Edit. In response to absolutely no demand, the injury. Sorry, it's a bad picture. I was using my left hand for some reason. If you look close, you can see where it cut through my nail. Also, to all the people asking why didn't you use a nail/drill/whatever? If I was smart, I wouldn't have been posting in this thread. I decided it would be quicker to walk down an incline of tennis ball sized rocks in flip-flops with my hands full than walk around on the pavement. I was right. I descended quickly. Stupidest injury? Well, one time when I was a kid, I was running around the yard, pushing the wheelbarrow. I hit a big root, went flying forward into the wheelbarrow, and ended up crashing into a tree like 40 feet downhill. Stupidest time, I merely hurt myself. I peed on an electric cattle fence, cause I thought it would be funny. It was just not for me. Tried to break a thread by wrapping it around my fingers and suddenly pulling, or thread of Kevlar. Cut my fingers to the bone. Severed 3 tendons in my left hand while slicing a badger. Basic tendon repair went over well, but my middle finger got infected. They had to put a tendon from my leg into my hand. 3 surgeries over a fucking badger. Holy shit, this blew up. Everyone keeps asking me if I ate the bloody badger. No, I didn't. Thanks for the awards. Busted lip. I punched myself in the mouth while ripping a wax strip off my leg. I have another one. A horse once bit my boob. I had a fun time explaining my injury to my mom. I get a fun scar too. I gave myself a blood nose taking the cap off a particularly stubborn marker. I woke up with a sprained ankle. I still have no clue what I did before I fell asleep or in my sleep, but suddenly I woke up, my ankle was swollen, and I couldn't walk. I tore a rotator cuff cleaning the bathtub. Fell through drop ceiling thinking it wasn't drop ceiling. It did not hold my weight. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and the confirmation that this was indeed a stupid injury. In my defense, there was a thick layer of dust. However, I did fall 10 feet, landed on a cement floor, my back hit first, and then my head. I did go to the hospital, I did get all kinds of scans, and I got out of there with no injuries aside from a fractured vertebrae that was somehow already there. Go figure. Cheers. On vacation in Florida, I had forgotten my sandals at home and didn't want to wear shoes down to the beach. Figured I'd buy a pair later and was already the last of our group to arrive, so I walked down barefoot. The boardwalk ended up being a lot longer than it looked due to a twist and was made out of some odd almost plastic composite material instead of wood. I have a very high pain tolerance. When I finally reached sand, my feet went from mildly uncomfortable to on fire. I had to be carried back off the beach. 2nd-degree burns on the entirety of both soles of my feet. I couldn't walk for a week. I still openly tell people it's one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Around 6 months ago, I was waiting for my sister on my college campus. Around the same time, I had accidentally gotten grease on my disc brakes, so they weren't stopping correctly. I had the great idea to stand the bicycle on the handlebars and spin the wheel from the pedals as fast as they could go on the highest gear, and then pinch the disc brakes with my thumb and index finger. This worked for a while, and I got a lot of grease off until my thumb got caught in the disc brake, causing it to be partially amputated and fracture the bone. I needed 6 stitches, painkillers, and around 4.5 months for the skin to completely heal. 0/10 wouldn't recommend trying. Man, is that a high bar for me. I think this time I'll go with the time I broke my arm because I was running and my feet got tangled in my parachute pants. Edit. **** I'm adding this because of a lot of the replies I'm getting. This was well before MC Hammer was famous. I was wearing a costume, think Disney's version of Aladdin. Except this was before that too. BRB suing Disney. Broke my foot on the way to the kitchen to get a muffin. I ate the muffin lying on the kitchen floor with my foot propped up on a chair trying not to cry. Priorities. Edit. Thanks for so many upvotes and awards. I haven't been on Reddit very long, so this is my first time with such a popular comment. To clarify, my foot was asleep and I stepped on the side of it hard. They were popper seed muffins from a mix my grandma gave me for Christmas. Guy with a farm down the road. Hey, can you come help bale hay tomorrow? Me at 16 with no prior bale experience. Sure, I'll be there. Showed up in basketball shorts. Left looking like I spent 3 minutes in a broom closet with 5 cats and a vacuum cleaner I couldn't shut off. Edit. Spelling. Edit 2. Wow, this blew up. So the farmer was a nice guy. He laughed when he saw me, told me what I was getting into, and asked if I wanted to change to jeans. I was only a couple minutes down the road, so I could have quickly changed. But I was young and stubborn, it was hot, and said no. His son around my age was also there, in jeans, and proceeded to laugh at my misfortune. It was a good time though. Great experience, and a little under the table cash was a great incentive. I've also had cats, and I've had the unfortunate experience of being next to one, or holding one, when my mom turned a vacuum cleaner on. That is exactly how I looked on my legs.